play head games. What the hell for? For what fucking purpose? So today, of course, he's wanting to tell me that I made a bunch of promises that I never made. Now, I recorded him in a conversation, him and I, before I went up to Washington State to see him the first time up there. And that, of course, was live on YouTube. Now, while I was up there, my dad was going to help me. In exchange, I was not to make videos. Now, he wasn't helping me, kept on changing the rules, kept on changing the story. Well, it's hard to trust a man like that, ain't it? Ugh. Now, of course, even though my dad would not look at evidence up in Washington State, he said he was gonna, claimed that he was gonna, but he never took a look. Now he wants to claim that he looked in 2019, that he had actually looked. Sure you did, Dad. Sure you did. Do what? I don't know. I always check the parking meters. That's the closest to lottery I play. Maybe Sinclair.
Sinclair? They got a lottery place? No, I mean, you can play the games.
Oh,
the machines.
I have no idea. Washington State's closest I'm aware of.
Oh, no, it's only Oregon.
They have it in Oregon?
Yeah, that's the only place to have it.
I didn't know they did.
Wherever you see the Oregon lottery, they have games you can play.
Oh. I'll keep my eye out. Thank you. If I keep my eye out, the next time somebody asks, I might know where to send them. Alright, so getting back to my dad. When I was up there visiting him in 2019, and he was going to help me and he was going to look at evidence, he wasn't. He was busy yelling at me and snapping at me and being a temperamental jackass. I know that's not something easy to deal with when you need help and you're busy getting screamed at instead. That's not help. Now, my dad claiming that he looked at evidence back in 2019. No, the hell he didn't. I brought that computer full of evidence that I couldn't post up on YouTube so that I could show him that evidence in person. And he never even tried looking at it. The one time he said he was finally gonna, he wanted to sit down and discuss it first. Well, then it wasn't a discussion, it was an argument. It was him, no matter what I said, that I must be wrong for some excuse or some fucking reason. I'm like, Dad, you know what? We need to stop this fucking argument and look at the fucking evidence. I've got the evidence right there. You can look at it. You can see that I'm telling the truth, or you can argue like an asshole. He just wanted to argue like an asshole. And of course, now he wants to pull that same crap he was pulling before. No, Dad, I'm not fucking falling for that bullshit twice. Are you kidding me? I know your content of character, Dad. No, you ain't changed. Not even a little bit. Now you're just hiding behind religion. Well done. If you really believed in God, you wouldn't want to give the Almighty a black eye by being such a POS in His name. So, of course, my dad also wanted to claim that I promised him. Ooh, that's a good one, isn't it? I want to say that I promised him that I wouldn't post anything on the internet about Diane or him. Where did I say that? I want to see the evidence of that. I want to hear it. Where's the evidence of that? Now, after what he pulled in Washington State, after promising he was going to look at the evidence, and instead of looking at the evidence, he was just a fucking asshole. Yeah, you don't keep your end of the bargain. Deal's done. Anything that you thought that you were going to get out of me, any verbal agreements or arrangements that we had made are null and void as soon as you start pulling that shit. If you don't keep your end of the bargain, I'm under no obligation to keep mine. The other thing is, don't be putting promises where there were none. Well, I was up there in Washington State at my dad's house. As far as making a video about him and Diane, shit, they had ample time to look at the evidence. Ample time to not be jackasses. Now my dad, I don't know what his agenda is. I'm not sure why he's so worried about 30 people or 50 people that might have seen the video about him. It ain't a whole substantial amount. And he cares more about that than his own son, who's got literally millions of people who see the slander. And my dad, of course, he could take a look at the evidence and he could speak up. Hey, Daniel. I don't, but I could probably, I got some crackers in my car. Will that work for now? All right, I'll go grab them. Anyway, my dad wants to be a jackhole. And then, of course, any excuse he can find, just like, well, every one of my other predators. They want to fish for excuses. They have to. My dad, he wants to pull the, oh, you're bipolar, so you must be wrong. Well, maybe he should have tried listening to evidence. Should have tried listening to the actual mental health professionals. Perhaps. That probably would have been a good idea. But no, he doesn't want to do that. What he wants to do is, of course, go out of his way to pretend whatever in his head must be true because he says so. Okay. Here you go, Daniel. I'll see you in a bit. With my dad believing that, well, I don't know what the hell he believes. He believes that after him doing all the fucked up shit that he did in Washington State, that I shouldn't say nothing, that I should keep my mouth shut, that I should just allow it. He's out of his fucking mind. And then to ignore years and years and years of abuse, and then he thinks that he gets to buy his way out like this is fucking purgatory. I ain't the Catholic Church. You can't fucking buy me out like that. Are you kidding me? That's just fucking ludicrous. For my dad to be lacking the brains to understand these simple concepts, well, I didn't ask to be related to the man. So, of course, with my dad and Diane doing the shit that they did, and then they think that they should be absolved of their sins, that I should not say anything about it. Now, if you look on my Facebook, the message between my father and I in the last few days, you get to see that very plainly and simply, I did not promise him at all that I was going to keep it private. He wanted to claim that he sent me $200 in good faith. He didn't send shit. Sure you did. Sure you did. Just like the last time. Just like the last time. He also claimed that he sent me a letter saying that he was shutting that stuff off. Well, he claimed that he sent me an email saying he shut that stuff off. He never sent a fucking email. Not that it matters. He doesn't give two shits about me. What he gives a shit about is, well, covering his own stupidity, hiding his own immorality. If he were a good man, an honest man, he'd have no problem speaking up publicly. So what does he have to hide? What do all of these people have to hide? Alright, that's a guy named Chance who lives here in Hood River. He's homeless. I already explained to him 5 or 6 times before that I wasn't gonna trade him or sell him my car. I don't have the ability to do so. It'll be too expensive to change it over, and I simply do not have the money for it. Being as I don't have the money for it, and I've explained it to him repeatedly, and then he got a hold of me yesterday 3 or 4 times, left a message on my answering machine where I can't understand a word that he's saying. It sounds like he's drunk and passing out while trying to talk to me. So it don't make no damn sense. Alright, this is not the parking lot I was looking for. Anyway, so I'm tired of explaining to him, dude, I can't sell you my fucking car. I tried explaining to him earlier that it was overheated, that it was on, that it was running, and that I was going to get fluid to put in it so that my engine doesn't blow. And he just wouldn't shut the fuck up. So now he's calling me again to want me to trade my car for some car he's got. No, I'm not going to trade my car. If you're going to harass me every day, I just won't answer. It's that simple. I already said no. No means no. That means no. 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 And I'm not sure if you need a translator for the word no, but the word no. Anyway, my dad pulling the crap that he's pulling. It's to be expected. It's the same shit he did last time. He wants power and control. Doesn't care about right or wrong. Doesn't care about me. Just cares about hiding his name and the shitty things that he fucking did. No. You fess up to that shit, Brian Schwartz. Don't be a fucking coward. Don't tell me to man up while you hide like a cockroach. It just don't work for me. It's not something I'm going to keep my mouth shut about. It's not something I'm going to hide from. I'm not going to hide from other people's fucking mistakes. I don't even hide from my own mistakes. I admit where I fuck up. Now, a lot of people would have made better decisions if they had all the right information. But it was a matter of giving a shit enough to look at all the information to hand. And they didn't. That is not my fault. The immorality of these people is not my fault. The immorality of the American public as a whole is not my fault. And it beats the hell out of me while these things are not my fault, you still demand apologies for it. You are out of your fucking mind. I believe in doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do. And although I don't always know what the right thing to do is, I always try something. My dad not giving a shit. My dad not looking at evidence. My dad just wanting me to look at Forex.com. Forex.com. Wouldn't shut the fuck up about Forex.com. Couldn't give two shits less about the fucking abuse that I'm going through, but yeah, at least he fucking cared about something. Forex.com. What's that about? My dad's love for money. My dad got a decent amount of money for having custody of me up in Washington State. That was when I was 15. When he lost custody of me, well, he stopped pretending to give a shit. Now he's pretending like he wants to help me in exchange for having his name removed and his wrongdoings removed. No, he committed fucking criminal acts. Are you fucking kidding me? And he thinks he should be allowed to just move on. He should be allowed to get away with it. It should be okay for him. Not a fucking chance in hell. He's out of his fucking mind. So my dad's already wasted quite a few hours of the last 3 days of my life and added a shit ton of fucking stress to it. And all he's done is antagonize the situation. That's all that he has done. You come at me, come correct. If you're gonna come at me sideways, well, it's gonna end up on YouTube. People are gonna hear it. It's gonna end up on my Facebook. People are gonna read it. Now, when I was trying to teach my dad about autism, the only part that my dad actually caught on to was a part that he took completely out of context. That's the freeze loop. We're trying to tell you about our abuse, and you're busy trying to talk us out of turning it in. You're busy trying to talk over us and tell us how to think and how to feel, so you don't even hear about the abuse that we're going through. You're too busy fucking talking. You won't shut the fuck up. Well, that don't work. So, of course, that must be the freeze loop. When you won't let the victims tell you what they're going through or show you the evidence of it. Oh, yeah, that must be the freeze loop. No, that's you being a fucking neglectful goddamn piece of shit. That sure as hell ain't good parenting. You know what happens when your kid's getting beaten up by 6 kids after school every day? And your parent says, oh, you just got to man up and take care of it yourself. Well, there comes a day when that kid is either permanently injured or killed because that parent didn't give a shit. Oh yeah, it toughens them up, doesn't it? That's right, it toughens them up. My dad made a lot of bad decisions. Now for me, one of the things that these predators wanted to do is use the mentally ill tag, or, oh, bipolar. Oh yes. If you call somebody bipolar, does that mean that it's okay to commit crimes against them? If someone is bipolar, does that make it okay to assault them? If somebody is bipolar, does it make it okay to rape them? If somebody is bipolar, does it make it okay to stalk them? If somebody is bipolar, is it okay to steal their money? Is it okay if they're bipolar? Meanwhile, we got to hear from Marcia Estrada, and I told her that I had been diagnosed as bipolar, because I had. When Scott DaCosta was trying to have me diagnosed with bipolar disorder so that he could justify the crimes that he committed, because somehow magically, if you're diagnosed as bipolar, then no crime was committed. No, that's not how it's fucking written, and that's not how it's supposed to work. But that's the way it doesn't work. And do you know why? Because nobody cared. My dad didn't care, and neither did anybody else. They wanted to argue. They wanted to pretend that I was fucking retarded because autistic people must be retarded. We think differently, therefore we're stupid. We think differently, therefore we must be wrong. Oh no. That is not how it works, you fucking idiots. I had a lot of people coming at me. Still do. And because I don't have the resources to do these things for myself, I am forced to do things that are desperate. And those resources include a family that actually gives a shit. Did my dad actually care? Did he ever actually look at evidence? No, he didn't. He didn't even try. He wanted to throw a tantrum afterwards, after he stabbed me in the back and ended up on my YouTube channel and on my Facebook for being a piece of shit. Then he wants to pretend like I somehow magically broke this promise that I had apparently made. No, 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 no. Au contraire, mon frère. Frère Jacques, dormez-vous? Oh my god, my back itches. Oh. Now people are quite fond of doing stupid shit like this. Yes, I was diagnosed as a child with bipolar disorder. And of course, Scott DaCosta, when I tried to turn in his deputies, they took me to the hospital and told the hospital that I had bipolar disorder. So because I have bipolar disorder, that magically makes it okay to assault me and makes it okay to illegally prevent me from making a police report against these men? None of this made fucking sense from the very start. The fact that Jen Beebe should have been on my side from the start and should have helped me as my fucking caseworker. She should have helped me with these things. That was her job. But she wasn't willing to do her job. And of course, Marcia Estrada speaks out about that. Marcia Estrada is licensed to diagnose schizophrenia, and she says that I am absolutely not schizophrenic. Maybe my dad should have actually looked at evidence. That might be a little complicated, huh? Now she also says that I'm not, that I don't have bipolar disorder. And I had explained to her that I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and she was saying that PTSD can be manifested in such a way. That's post-traumatic stress disorder. That's one of the things about many of these mental illnesses that you guys use to try to discredit the victims. You want to pretend that PTSD is bipolar disorder. You want to pretend that Tourette syndrome is drug use. You want to pretend that autism is schizophrenia or mental retardation. My dad has played on that. My dad played on the autism thing starting when we first went to see a neurologist about it. I can't make him stop. I don't make his dumbass decisions for him. With my dad, it only cared about his special interests when it came to conversations. Anytime I brought up the situation with Natalie or the abuse that I was enduring, he wanted to change the subject, snap at me, berate me, treat me like shit, whatever it took. All he cared about was Forex.com. Just like when I was a kid, it was about exploiting me for money. Fucked up thing is, he could have exploited the shit out of this situation and made a lot of money. A lot of people made a lot of money off of my predators because they had help in person. People who actually gave a shit. Not people who blew them off and treated them like they were a fucking nuisance just because they exist. My mom and dad never should have had kids. So, here's the thing, is that I'm not bipolar. I've seen multiple professionals who, some of them can almost agree, and most of them don't. Most of them agree that the situation that I am in is situational. It is not fixed by medications, and that I do need to take a stand. Most of them also agree and have spoken on the fact that the system is corrupt. The very system that they work for is corrupt. Now, my dad could stop being a coward at any point in time, take a look at evidence, put on his big boy panties. But yeah, he's a little slow mentally. Pull-ups might be a little bit challenging for my dad. Now, for him claiming that number one, that I promised not to say his name or Diane's name. Oh, absolutely not. And number two, when is it that I started speaking out? When they did me wrong. Repeatedly. No, I didn't go up there to be fucking abused by my dad. I went up there for help. He claimed that he looked at the evidence. No, there was one time that he was almost going to look at the evidence. What it ended up being instead, though, is him arguing with me. I'd get up to go get the evidence, and he'd fucking yell at me and snap at me again. Sit down! When he got in the way of the door and illegally prevented me from leaving. Yeah, that's not fucking okay. There was a dual county prosecutor in Chapel, Nebraska. His name was Douglas Pollock. He did that to his wife. And guess what? He got criminal charges pressed against him. He was still allowed to be the county prosecutor after that, though. How sad is that? So my dad's excuses. It's obvious that this wanting to reconcile somehow. No, it's not reconciliation if you're trying to hide your crimes and that's all you care about. If you're trying to bribe me to take down conversations with you that show that you fucking lied to me, not gonna fucking happen, dude. He should have been smarter than that. He also said that I apparently promised him that I wouldn't record him or Diane. No, I didn't. And after what they did there in Washington State the first time I was up there, you know what? Yeah, I recorded my dad twice and Diane once after that. He claimed I promised I wouldn't record Dana. Well, that was bullshit too. I never claimed I wouldn't record Dana. And no, there are no recordings with Dana. All I did with Dana was go over to her boyfriend's house and smoke a bunch of weed with her while she complained about my dad. Go figure. Actually, I might have a recording or two from that. I'll have to go back and check. The phones that would have been on are gone, long gone. But I was able to save a lot of that to OneDrive as long as I can figure out how to get back into OneDrive. All stuff that I need help with. Meanwhile, my dad is wasting time that I could be otherwise spending trying to get actual help because he still wants... He wants the evidence of his wrongdoings taken down. Then he wants to claim that the reason that he didn't keep his word with the insurance stuff. See, that's the thing where I didn't need his help to pay that shit. What I needed help was getting my disability money back so that I could pay for that shit. So that I wasn't dependent on a fucking piece of shit like him. Just like I had to be dependent on Candace Bondurant. Just like I had to be dependent on Todd Ryan Case. In each one of these situations, these people could have helped me to achieve independence. Rather than doing that, they wanted to ignore those things. They wanted to ignore the evidence. They wanted to ignore what legally needed to be done. They wanted to ignore all of that. That ain't on me, that's on them. They fucked up, their fault, their choice. I was trying to get help starting a GoFundMe before Natalie died so that I could actually have the money to protect myself, to try to get a lawyer, to try to get some help stopping the abuse by Natalie Bollinger and her friends, and also by Ken Wilson and Leatha Plunkett. Now, my dad to this day could try to be a decent excuse for a human being. He could try being a dad for once in his fucking life, but what's he gonna do? He's gonna act like a child, as always. It's not his fault that he lied. It's not his fault. It's not his fault. It's my fault that he did all the fucked up shit that he did while I was there because I exposed the situation afterwards. No. Now you're jumping across the timeline like all of my predators do. It's fucked up. Natalie Bollinger did that. Danica Garner did that. All of my predators want to do that. They want to get involved and then pretend they weren't involved. They want to do fucked up shit and play fucked up head games and then play fucking victim. My dad's a piece of shit straight up. And then, of course, he wants to tell me about, oh, do you worry about me, my property, or my family? Last I checked, I was one of your offspring, asshole. Don't you give a fuck about your own family, you fucking piece of shit? No, you don't. You give a fuck about money. That's it. Which is why it weirds me out that after 4 years, he's wanting to bribe me to take that shit down. What's his fucking end game? What's he after? Oh, fuck, it's getting a little bit cooler out, so now the mosquitoes are out and they're biting. Biting mosquitoes are not fun. My dad is not forced into homelessness. My dad's finances aren't completely fucked. My dad doesn't get harassed by the cops everywhere he fucking goes. My dad is not stuck in a situation where he's surrounded by drug addicts all the fucking time. He's not stuck in a situation where he has to depend on drug addicts because his family ain't fucking there. My dad wants to pretend like I'm trying to destroy his life because I told the truth. No, he already destroyed mine by being a piece of shit and a liar and not being a father. By choosing drugs over his own kids. By choosing money over his own kids. Is he trying to claim that I promised him this time that I wouldn't talk about him or Diane? Because I didn't do that this time either. You don't get those fucking promises out of me. Nobody does. There are people who I told I wouldn't post up on YouTube. Of course, there were things that they made promises of as well. When they didn't keep their word, I was no longer under any obligation to keep mine. You broke the verbal contract first. That's cause and effect. See, here's what all my predators are trying to do versus what the actual situation is. The situation is I'm a dog backed into a fucking corner being poked with sticks over and over and over and over again until I bark. My predators want to say, oh, well, he was threatening us by barking, so we had to back him into a corner with sticks. Are you fucking kidding me? Don't play fucking stupid. Oh, wait. I guess it's not playing, is it?